Hey, what's up my friends? Baldwin here. Welcome back to another speech breakdown where today we're going to be taking one of the most popular speakers on the planet right now, Mr. Eric Thomas, E.T., and we're going to be breaking down one of his popular talks. So Eric has a lot of different presentations, a lot of different videos out there. We picked this one because it's got several different clips from this presentation of how he is interacting with an audience. One of the things that he does really well is how he uses his voice and the volume of the voice. So he can be very, very passionate, very, very loud, and he can bring it way down to a whisper to cause the audience to lean in. So he does a great job with this. Also takes a story, kind of weaves it through of some of the forgiveness that he has dealt with and forgiveness issues and challenges that he's dealt with. So a lot of good stuff here from E.T. So let's not waste any more time, my friends. Let's break it down.
Let me tell you something, guys. Man, I'm excited. He's right. I'm in the back like, why are they talking so much? Let's get it. Whose idea was...
Now, Eric Thomas is an extremely popular motivational speaker, highly in demand, a very engaging, captivating type of speaker. But I would also point out here that as we're going to be walking this through and talking about some things, it's difficult to compare everything that E.T. would do to some things that you might do as a speaker, depending on where you are in your career. So sometimes we look at like, hey, Eric does this, can I do that? Well, just because he does it doesn't necessarily mean that it equates to what you could do. So Eric is someone who's been speaking for many, many years. He's someone who has a lot of name recognition and has a lot of popularity, has kind of a celebrity status as a motivational speaker. You can even see as he is introduced that there's an anticipation from the audience that we didn't just come to hear a generic speaker, we came to hear Eric Thomas, right? So it's kind of the difference between going to, from like a comedian standpoint, if a comedian is doing a show where people are just coming to a local comedy club to see a comedian and then that person happens to be the comedian, it's not the same effect as someone bought a ticket to come see this specific comedian, right? Same thing is true for the speaker. Or like a band, if you just go to a local bar to listen to a band, it's a different feel than if you buy a ticket to go see a specific artist. So for this audience, they bought a ticket to come see Eric Thomas speak. So because of that, there's a certain level of celebrity status, and so there's a certain anticipation and engagement that the audience is immediately going to have just because of his name recognition and because of who he is.
Do this video, like let's get straight to it. Look, man, I'm excited. I'm pumped up. Let me just...
Little caveat here, just a little side note here. So he's got his headset on there, which is oftentimes called a countryman mic. That's my favorite kind of mic personally. But if you're going to do that, I prefer run the cord down your shirt, all right? Whatever kind of shirt or dress or blouse or whatever you've got on there, make sure that you run it down your shirt so you don't have cords hanging out there. For one, I think it just looks better, but two, that cord can be flopping around, it could come disconnected, it could catch on something, and so it's a lot simpler just to run it down your shirt.
This to you guys before we get started. This is not about E.T. Today it's about you, right? And I want you to know, for those of you who you made a sacrifice to be here. You made an investment. I heard somebody came all the way from Australia. I was nervous. Like, that was too much. Like, I was okay. They was like, E, how you feel? I'm good. Somebody flew in from Australia. That's a 24-hour flight. I'm like, oh, no. Like, I got to be good, man. I got to be good. So I'm excited, guys. Listen to me. And I know you hear me say this on the video, but I have to say it personally because I'm here. I'm in your presence. Listen to me. You got to know I'm not a motivational speaker. That's just some term they give me. But I love you and I believe in you. Listen to me. I love you and I believe in you. That's why we do what we do. And I never forget, I went to, because you guys got to remember, I'm married.
So I always like for a speaker that comes into the audience there, because when you're up on stage, or especially if you're behind a podium or lectern there, that there's going to be somewhat of a gap or a chasm between you and the audience. So I always like for a speaker who comes down off of the stage and walks amongst the audience, as well as when he's moving around, you notice that he's going to be much closer to the audience. It's going to cause them to be more engaged. As well, when he's moving around, it causes them to have to like move and turn and keep engaged with where he is within the room, versus if he's just on stage and he's kind of going back and forth, it's a little bit easier for them to track. So it's also easier for them to kind of get lost in it versus like, okay, he's moving all over the room, and so it forces me to pay attention a little bit more.
Right, so I'm married with a family, and so I'll never forget when I came to my wife, right? And my wife's very stable. She's a stable person, right? And I came to my wife with this great idea. I was like, look, I'm quitting my job. She's like, all right, quitting your job. All right, we've been here before. I can handle it. Right? So I'm like, I'm quitting my job. So that means 6-figure income, That means the 401k, and unfortunately in the States we have to pay for health insurance, right? So I got my health insurance package, and she's like, all right, good. All right, so you're quitting your job. I'm like, all right, we're having this conversation. I can already see like her disposition changing a little bit, right? And so then I say, well, and what I'm going to do with my proposition in place of my job, I'm going to look at a camera. And I'm going to just say, thank God it's Monday. And I'm going to inspire the world. And she's like, all right, now what are you really going to do? I'm like, for real. I'm just going to look in the camera, right? And I'm going to inspire people and encourage people and tell people they can do it and give them a whole bunch of principles for free. But it's going to work out. So listen to me very closely. I didn't do that for fun. I have a family. But I did it because even though I'm staring in that camera and I can't see one person I'm talking to, I'm believing. I'm believing that what I'm saying is making a difference in somebody's life. And I don't know who that somebody is, but almost 3 years to the day, I'm in London. And not only myself, but my wife and my family gets the opportunity to see who I was talking to and who I inspired. So thank you for coming into this place today. But you got.
Now, one thing he's doing here that's really effective and powerful is whenever you're making a serious point of slowing down your speech, but then also softening your voice. So whenever you start almost to the point of a whisper, and he's talking about how impactful it is. So thank you. I just want to thank you so much. It causes the audience to lean in, one, because they just have to be able to hear you, but two, it creates kind of this powerful moment. So when you have something like heavy or deep or meaningful or impactful that you want to deliver, slow down and even soften your voice to the point where the audience does start to lean in a little bit more.
Do me a huge favor. You cannot leave the same. So this is not about motivation.
You guys strain to hear him.
This is about inspiration. This is about empowerment. And when you leave this place today, I need you to think in a way you've never thought before. And I need you to behave in a way that you've never behaved, because you can't waste my time. So it's not about, whoa, that was the best thing I've ever heard. Man, E.T. is advertised. Man, he's got as much passion as he does in the video. No. I didn't come thousands and thousands of miles for you to be inspired. But when you leave, I want your wife to say, can you go back next weekend? Can you get E.T. number? Right? Because I got to upgrade. I don't know what happened. I want some husband who missed it and the wife came. I want to say, wow. I want some child to say, Mom, what did they, you should have took me with you. I want your coach. I want your coach to say, you are intent. You practice like you've never practiced before. You listen like you've never listened before. I want you to be on an entirely different, I want you to change. I want people not to recognize who you are. When my mother and I came, somebody asked my mother the question, are you proud? My mom said, that words can't explain. So I'm not dealing with hearing my mom say, I'm proud of you. But if you could talk to my mother and find out who I was at 16 and 17 and who I am now, what she'd say is he's a different person. I need you to be a different person. Because what I want you to know is that you are where you are. If you're not where you want to be, okay, let me stop because I'm getting ahead of myself. You will raise your hand and respond to me. If you're not 120% where you want to be right now in life and there's still room for you to improve, can you please just entertain me and just, good, hands down, good. So watch this. If you're not where you want to be, it's because you're not who you need to be right now. And dreaming and hoping is not going to change your situation. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with dreaming. We'll talk about that. I'm not talking about, not having a vision. You need to have a vision, but listen to.
He's doing a good job just setting up where he's going with the presentation, and also kind of giving a little precursor here of saying, listen, what we're gonna be talking about, I don't want you just to be inspired. I don't want you just to be motivated. I don't want you just to feel warm and fuzzy or get little goosebumps or anything like that. I want you to do something with what it is that I'm going to tell you. So there's a good introduction of setting people up that it's more than just talking about it. I want you to apply it. I want you to take action based on what it is that we're talking about here.
You are where you are because of who you are. And if you're going to get somewhere else, you're going to have to change something. I'll never forget. I'll never forget the day I was like, yo, I'm ready. Like, for real, I'm ready to go global. I'm ready to change people's lives. I will never forget the day I was like, woo, I'm ready to take my game to a whole other level. I remember, now you got to remember, I'm a man of faith. And so I was praying and I heard it. It was crazy.
Okay, so one of the things he just did there was, I'll never forget the day when I decided to go global. Well, you can't just say that without telling the story, right? So immediately people are going, tell us about the day. I want to know about the day. Tell me about the day. What happened? How did you know that this was the day? And one of the things we've talked a lot about on these speech breakdowns is how much people love stories. Now, we don't know, is this going to be a sad story? Is this going to be a happy story, a funny story, a serious story? We have no idea where he's going with the story, but we know he's going to tell us a story about the day he decided to go global and go big here. And so we're immediately drawn to stories.
Heard it. I was like, all right, what books do I need to read? I'm ready. What conference do I need to go to? I'm ready. Just show me the book. I'm ready. Show me the conference. Take me to the guru. I'm ready. Just show me what I need to say. And it was crazy. I heard as I was praying, I heard you need to forgive your biological father for not being in your life. This may sound crazy, but asking my biological father to forgive my biological father for not being in my life is the craziest thing, guys. As I started going through the process, I realized it had absolutely nothing to do with him. It's weird, all right? Me and my man, we standing next to each other. It was the craziest thing, right? And so, be careful what you ask for because it might happen. And I just said in my little space that, you know what, I need to forget this guy. Next thing you know, I had an engagement in Chicago, Illinois. Got to the engagement about an hour early, was doing my prep, and I'm telling you guys, I got on the phone. Forgive my age, but I was on the pay phone. This was back in the day, and this was before cell phones came out, right? I was talking to my grandmother on the pay phone, and out of the corner of my eye, I promise you, I thought.
Again, it's kind of a serious moment, so what is he doing? He's slowing down, he's talking real quiet, just to emphasize the power of the moment and the meaningfulness of the moment.
I said, that can't be. I didn't call him. He doesn't know I'm here. I forgot I got a grandmother. My grandma working it out, like your son's in town. He's on 71st in Michigan. He'll be there at 7 p.m. So my man walks in, I look at my man, I'm like, nah, I can't even do it. Be careful what you ask for. I'm like, I can't do it. I'm like, come on, why are you gonna pick this time? Can I say something to you guys? To be successful is never convenient. The things that you have to go through, it's never convenient. I'm like, I'm about to speak. Come on, you coming in when I'm about to speak, like you about to throw my whole game off. So I didn't know what to call him, Dad. Like I was tripping, like I didn't know what to call him. So he's sitting there, and so he's like, and so I finally get there. It's like, why weren't you in my life? I'm talking about water here, but no drops. It's like here, and I'm like, and boom, bring them all back in, blah. I bring them right back in. I'm just sitting there like,
Now, one thing that you can do here is he's telling a serious story about kind of reconnecting with his biological father, forgiving him right before he's getting ready to give a presentation. So it's kind of a serious type of story, but in those serious moments, it's oftentimes where it's really easy to inject humor in that. Just a simple little thing where he's talking about, trying to stay strong, and then all of a sudden he's crying. It's easy to throw that in there, and he gets a great reaction from it because the audience is already so engaged with the story and where it is that he's going. So just a little tip there of making sure that when you're telling something serious, that it's also an opportunity to inject some type of humor to kind of break it up and soften some of the tension.
And I was listening, I was saying, in order for me to be free, in order for me to go to the next level of my life, I just need to hear this man say, I'm sorry. When I asked my man, why were you not in my life? My man said to me, see, your mom, wow, you ain't go there. Like flat out, you wasn't, like you can't man up? You can't man up? You're gonna say my mom, now even if it was my mom, that's like she still raised me and took care of me, so you gotta know that's off limits. You gotta know that ain't proper, like you can't do that, you grown. I got a son. I've been in his life. I was there in the hospital when he was born. Man to man, there's no way you sitting here telling me my mom. And I walked away still angry, and I walked away bitter. And God said to me, you don't get it. He doesn't have to free you. You have to free you. He doesn't owe you an apology. He's not even mature enough. This isn't about you. He's not mature enough to say he's sorry. So if you're going to be free, you're going to have to free yourself. And I'm telling you, if you're in this room right now, you can do whatever you want, but you're going to have to free yourself and stop being a victim and waiting for somebody else to open up an opportunity for you, to open up that door for you, to do for you. If you don't do for yourself, I apologize. I apologize. I wish they would man up and tell you what they need to tell you. Your boss would say they're sorry. Whoever owes you an apology, but trust me, you might die and never get one. And if you're waiting on that, you might be in a hostage situation for the rest of your life. So I looked at myself. I said, Eric, you better learn to love yourself, because he might never do it. The reason why I did not forgive my biological father earlier, because it wasn't an emergency. It might have been somewhat important, but you know what happens? The stuff that falls in somewhat important, we never get to it. Why? Because you never put a time frame on something that's somewhat important. But when I had my son, and I knew what it was like to have a son, and I knew I needed to let that past go so that my son didn't recreate that, I knew it was an emergency to talk to him so I can get that out of my system. It's funny, he called me the other day, and he was like, son, I guess, it's halfway, he started reflecting. He was like, I need you to do me a huge favor, and we need to talk, and I want to come visit you, and, we need to get our relationship, whatever. And I said, Dad, let me be honest with you. I'm grown. I'm good. I'm not angry with you anymore. We have a good relationship. I try to call you when I feel it. You know what I'm saying? You know how you get that feeling, and somebody you love, you just get the feeling like you need to call? So I can go like 2-3 days on the road, and my mom, I'll feel that thing like I got to pick up the phone and call my mom. I might be like, Mom, I can't talk. I'm on my way to Istanbul. I don't know. I'll get back with you later. She's like, all right, call me when you get a chance. So with my father, because he wasn't in my life, it's not like weekly, but I'll get that thing. So I'll never forget, he was like, son, he came and met me. He pulled out 2 gloves and some ball. He was like, son, let's play catch. I'm like, Dad, whoa, I'm grown. Like, the catch ball thing, like, that's over. I'm sorry, you missed that window right there. Like, I'm not about to stop doing TGIM and just like, blah. Let's go. Hey, I'm sorry I can't get on the road right now.
So that was obviously very funny, but what made it funny was him kind of acting it out of pretending like he's throwing it up and hitting it there. So anytime that you can, like, he's not overly physical or anything in terms of his how he's expressing himself or waving his hands or anything like that, but demonstrating that little piece with some little physical action there added to the humor.
Me and Dad are playing catch. I'm like, that's over. For real, I told my father, I said, for real, I'm past that. I love you. I call you when I think it's necessary. We have a healthy relationship. Oh, you got to hear what I'm saying. When it's somewhat important, you don't have no time frame. When it's very important, you do it within 48 hours. When it's an emergency, somebody calls me and says, Mr. Thomas, I'm sorry, we cannot give you your check until you sign the document. It doesn't take me an hour. Where can I find the document? It's online. Give me the correct address. Give me 1 second, please. I don't even have ink in my computer, right? I find a way to print it out. Yeah. Right? I'm praying over ink be there. I just sign that thing, boom, scan it, give it right to them. It doesn't even take 30 minutes. Right? And my family will tell you, my friends tell you, I don't even follow through like that. I call immediately. Have you gotten no, Mr. Thomas, we have it. I'll stay on hold. Mr. Thomas, we'll call you back as soon as we get it. Nope, I will stay on hold. Because you might not call me back. She called, I got it. Thank you. Look, when I got here, I saw 2 things. The big double-decker red bus, and then I saw the ambulance. Right here. I've never been here before. First thing. I saw a little, neon green. I don't know what it is. They've been all over the place. Do me a huge favor. When you walk out of here, I need to hear. There's some stuff when you leave that you don't have forever. You need to deal with it. There's some phone calls you need to make as soon as you leave. There's some things you haven't done that you need to do. You don't have another week to do it. You don't have another.
Now, one of the things we've talked a lot about is that as a speaker, the audience is always asking themselves 2 questions. So what and now what? So what and now what? So one of the things he's doing right now is he's giving them some now what application. Whenever you leave here, some of you need to make some phone calls. Some of you need to send an email. Some of you need to send a text message. Some of you need to reach out and repair that relationship with that person. So he's giving them some action items, and the audience is probably already connecting the dots in their mind of, man, I need to talk to this person, or I need to talk to that person, or that person I need to forgive, or I need to reach out to that person, or I need to have a conversation with this person that hurt me. And so giving them some clear action items is a great thing to give the opportunity for the audience to do something after the talk to carry out what it is that he's talked about.
Hey, to do it when you walk out, they need to just be for real. London just need to be, I don't know what's going on, but in the mermaid area, there's everybody just, I don't know what happened, but it's some emergencies over there. All right, so it's not important, somewhat important, very important. an emergency. Your dream will not become a reality until you shift from not important to somewhat important to very important to an emergency. And you don't have forever to do it. And I had to forgive my father. And you know what happened? It was so crazy. When I forgave my father, it had nothing to do with my father. It had everything to do with learning to forgive. Shh. And I was speaking one thing and I was living something else. I was traveling across the country telling people about, forgiveness, and I wasn't doing it. Life is going. And you got to do me a favor. When you get hit, I'll never forget. First time I got my boy, they stole my green machine. My mom bought me a green machine. And these two boys on the block, they stole my green machine. I was pissed. They bust me out and bleed. I can't hold, Mom, they stole my green machine, Mom. And you know what my mom told me? Don't come in this house until you go get that big. I paid a lot of money for that big wheel, son. I don't care what you have to do. Like, for real, I'm bleeding. I'm looking for the hole. That wasn't my real. I'm looking like, love me. You know what I'm saying? Hold me. Help me. Mom's like, go back out there and get that boy. You know how much that thing costs? And Mom said, listen to me. I love you, but do me a huge favor. Don't come back to this house without that big wheel. I remember thinking, man, these boys, one of them huge. I remember walking down the street and I saw a bottle. We're not going to talk about, this is not the venue to talk about what type of bottle it was, but I picked the bottle up, boom, hit it against the concrete, and I said, I can't come home without the bike. And I went and told my man I want my bike. He said, you can't have it back. I said, you don't understand. My mom ain't about to let me back in the house. So somebody going to get cut. Like, for real, I can't beat both of y'all, and I know I can't, but somebody, I don't know which one of y'all want to be brave and get cut, but one of y'all getting cut. Now, y'all want to commune with one another, talk about who going to get cut. Y'all can do that. I'm all right with that, but I'm not coming home without the green machine. And I came home with my green machine, and I rode that thing like I was so proud when I would see them. I'm looking like, cut, if you think it. Are you hearing me? Some of you have been knocked out by life. And you got up and saw the blood, and he hit me. Sometimes in life, you have to hit back. It's not always going to be easy. They're not going to give it to you. They're not going.
Now, we've talked about the other extreme where whenever he is making a serious point that he can get really, really quiet and cause the audience to lean in almost to the point where he's whispering. But you can go the other extreme as well. Now again, he can do this and he can get away with this. So you have to kind of find that balance for you as a speaker, that if you start yelling, it may come across corny or cheesy or hokey or almost angry. And whenever he's doing it right now, Eric is coming across in a way where it doesn't feel like he's angry or he's mad. It's coming across in a passionate way. So you can do that as a speaker as long as you kind of know what that limit is, and you're knowing, and you also know that you've built some of that rapport and that relationship with the audience to be able to do something like this. He probably wouldn't if the audience had no clue who he was and he just showed up and he started speaking and he led with this and it was coming out and kind of screaming and yelling. It starts to feel like screaming and yelling versus he's built some rapport, he's built some connection, he's built some trust with the audience where now he can really deliver home some serious points. And he can do that by raising the level of his voice where it comes across as passionate and not necessarily as anger.
To give you success. They're not going to put it on the platter. But if you're willing to work for it, if you're willing to put the sweat, the blood, the tears, if you're willing to earn it, they don't give away Bentleys. They're never on sale. But if you want one, you can buy it if you're willing to pay for it. And so Batman, I love it. The Dark Knight Rises. Batman comes to Bane because he's Batman. He's like, I'm Batman. Surrender or else. Bane like, so Batman's doing his thing, blah, blah. He's swinging, blah, blah, blah. You fight like a young man. And boom, Bane grabs my man's fist as Batman comes. He says, your victory has defeated you. Some of you, your success has messed you up. You so successful now, you soft. Your success has not benefited you. You've not grown as a result of being successful. You've lost your bite. You're not hungry anymore. Your success is damaging you. And so Batman gets up. And he was like, I didn't know which was going to go first, your body or your will. But you're pretty strong. I'm still going to break you. Blah, blah, boom. Batman gets up one last time. The whole cape boy, the boots. Like, Batman. Pull out his look, choo, 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 choo. Start hitting all the lights, blah, blah, blah. Batman, he's Batman. He can fight in the dark. So he choo, 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 choo. Bang. He said, Batman, like you cutting the lights off? He said, may I remind you, you adopted the dark. meaning that you practice in the dark. Batman, I was born in the dark, shaped by the dark, molded by the dark. I grew up in the dark. Batman, I will break you. And I want you to hear what I'm telling you. Some of you were soft, but you were born in the dark, and now you're soft. Every time you come up to a challenge, you quit, you surrender, you give up, you give in. Every single thing I go through, I remember I was homeless, and I draw from it. Every single time I'm going through pain, I remember that I've gone through pain since I was a kid. I draw from it. Recycle your pain. Get something from it. You're already in pain. Use it. Do something with it. Allow it to take you to the next level. Allow your pain to push you to greatness. I challenge you. I challenge you. I challenge you to be the best you could be. I challenge you to lead this room on a height, an awareness that you've never had before. I challenge you to behave in ways you've never behaved. I challenge you to pick up traits that you've never picked up before and do everything you could possibly do before you leave this place and impact as many people as you can. So don't be average, don't be good, don't be great. Be phenomenal. Or be forgotten. That's my time.
London, give it up for E.T.
Great talk there from Eric Thomas. Again, one of the more powerful motivational speakers that you're going to be able to find there. Phenomenal talk, and did a great job there, especially with the differences of how he was using his voice in terms of the volume of speaking loudly and more passionately, and also slowing it down and speaking much softer and causing an audience to lean in. So excellent job. A lot to learn there from Eric. All right, there you go. Hope you enjoyed that speech breakdown from Eric Thomas. Again, one of the best speakers on the planet right now. So hey, if you enjoyed this video, you want to see more like that, don't forget to subscribe. We're dropping new videos every single week. You don't want to miss out, so make sure you subscribe. Also, don't forget to like the channel. And finally, below, make sure that you let us know in the comments, what is the one takeaway that you learned that you're going to apply to your next presentation? Let us know in the comments. Also, if there's other speeches, talks, presentations, or TED Talks or whatever that you would like for us to break down in an upcoming video, make sure you let us know. All right, my friends, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll catch you next time. You're awesome.